I worked on Wall Street, and I used to work with individuals who made $25 million or more. So I was exposed to a lot, what they were investing in, where they were traveling, living. And I realized that although I had a six-figure career, I was making good money, I was never going to be like the clientele that I was working with. And it wasn't because they were smarter than me or they worked harder than me, they were just taught different information. And so I'd rather pick their brain on how they got their money versus teaching them how to keep it. And so that kind of inspired me to want to be able to provide that same education to the community, because we all deserve it. In the beginning, it was kind of just the idea. I saw the problem. I felt like I was the only person in the world who saw the problem and had the burning desire to fix it. It was just the idea, and it just kind of blew up. I found that there were a lot of people who needed my help. There were a lot of people who were intimidated by finance, something that I loved naturally. And I realized that I could be the difference in the world and be the example for people. Your typical person is kind of intimidated by banks. They're intimidated by people who have a lot of money, not realizing that one day that they can be just like them if they're given the right tools and resources to do it. When I left my job, I kind of took a leap of faith. I pretty much just jumped off of a cliff. I knew for a year I was quitting, so I saved financially, but I continued to live life like I had a job. And I think as an entrepreneur, you automatically have to change your lifestyle, your habits, what you're used to, because it's a roller coaster. And so for me, one of my biggest struggles I found was I was spending a lot of money, and I was traveling, I was buying clothes. Like, I lived in New York City, so I pretty much was spending every dollar I was getting, because I was still making a little bit of money, until it got to a point where I didn't have money. And so I maxed out credit cards, I overdrew my account, I got evicted from my apartment, and I ended up back on my parents' couch. Realizing that God took everything from me, because I never really valued money. I spent it because I had it, and it wasn't until I lost it that I really truly started to appreciate it. So I feel like that struggle kind of forced me to be as strong as I was able to be, because I honestly didn't have a choice. I didn't really want to go back to a job, and I think sometimes that's a defining moment with being an entrepreneur. You're facing so many financial struggles, and the easy thing to do is to go back to get a job. And for me, I felt like I didn't want to go back to that life, because I knew what it would end like, but I had to persevere through every trial and tribulation, because I felt the burning desire to be great, and I knew that I could do it. Yeah, I could say I think about quitting every single day. There have been times I cried. Like in the beginning stages when I didn't really have any money, I worked all day, all night. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, but I just kept going because I didn't have a choice. But for me, it gets to be so challenging, because sometimes you doubt yourself. You feel like, why did God give me this role, and who said that I could be great at doing this? But then sometimes you think, well, who tells me that I can't be great doing this? And so sometimes you kind of battle with your conscious and your subconscious. You battle with who you are in your reality, but you also battle with who you know you're one day going to become. And sometimes you go through depression, sometimes you're struggling. For me, it's crying. For me, it's just talking to people. But for me, waking up every day to fight for what I love to do, for some reason, it's like, I don't know, like sometimes I want to quit, sometimes I want to keep going, but at the end of the day, I wake up excited and I love what I do. And I know the feeling I had when I was waking up to a job. I wasn't happy to wake up. Granted, it is tough, but I feel like I'm in too deep to give up, and I know too much to ever go back. So for me, it's just riding a wave until it's done. So one day I remember speaking at Temple, and it was a free workshop that I did for students. Told my story, taught them some things about financial education, and after the event was over, there was like a line of 20 people to meet me. And in my head, it's kind of like, I don't have any money, I live in my parents' house, I don't know what I'm doing, who knows what tomorrow is going to be like, why do these kids want to talk to me? And they were just so excited and asking to work with me, shadow me for a day, and just asking me about just a lot of things that I went through, because I was an inspiration to them. And that's when I realized, like, this is why God put you here. It's not really about money. I didn't make a dime doing that event, but I realized that this is why you're here. There's a group of people in the community out here who need you, and they don't even know you exist. And it's your job to show your face to the world. I had like a pure bliss moment. I can't even describe it, but when you have it, you know it. And I feel like I've never had that feeling before. I was happy with no money. I was happy and I didn't even get paid for the event. I was happy still living in my parents' house, on their couch, having a father who didn't really support me or see my vision. But I had a whole world out there who realized like they need me. And it was a group of students who really, I don't know, didn't even know me from a can of paint and listened to me talk for an hour, who looked at Ashley Fox as an inspiration. For me, I realized like there's a group of people out there who need you, and who are you to quit on them? And then I was made.